Hello beautiful people, welcome to my YouTube channel. Hope you all are well. So today I'll be showing you how I cook Efo Riro. So Efo Riro is a dish where you use green vegetables in your cooking. So you can use spinach, you can use curly kale, but in today's video I'll be using 3 different leaves. I'll be using Uzziza leaves, I'll be using pumpkin leaves, which is also called ugu, and I'll be using Efirin, which is also called saint leaves. Right, so to get started, I have here ugu leaves, also called pumpkin leaves, Efirin, also called saint leaves, and I have here Uzziza leaves. Now these are the 3 main vegetables I'll be using in today's cooking. Also, I'll be using some dried and smoked fish. So I've got here stockfish, also Bonga fish, and in Yoruba it's called Shawa. And I also have smoked crayfish. I'll also be using some of this meat. I have some cooked and fried snails, and this is also called cow skin, also called Kpomo, and grilled tripe, also called shaki. And for the peppers, I'll be using about 7 to 8 medium-sized bell peppers and 3 scotch bonnets. Now with the peppers you can use less or fewer scotch bonnets depending on your spicy preference. I'll also be using 3 red onions and 1 can of chopped tomatoes. Now for my spices, I'll be using 1 teaspoon of curry powder, 1 teaspoon of mixed herbs, 1.5 teaspoon of chicken bouillon, 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika, 1.5 teaspoon of locust beans, also called iru, and about 200 ml of red palm oil. Okay, so the next thing I'm doing here is blending the peppers, and I'll be blending it using the pulse function on the blender. You can also use just blend it using short burst, and the whole idea is just to give the peppers a coarse texture consistency, and thereby when you're cooking the Efo Riro you see bits of the peppers in your cooking. It just helps to enhance the look. Okay, so once you're done blending the peppers, it should come out looking something similar to this, and as you can see, you can still see bits of the peppers in there. Okay, so earlier on I had 3 red onions, 2 I have blended with the red peppers. So this one I'm just chopping finely, and I'll be sauteing or frying in the red oil that I'll be using in my cooking later on. Okay, so what I'm doing here is just pouring the red palm oil into a hot pot. Now I'm just going to leave that to heat up slightly before I then introduce the red onions, the chopped onions. Now I'm going to fry the onions or saute the onions until it is golden brown. Afterwards I'll be pouring in the blended peppers. Now I'll allow that to cook for about 10 minutes on a medium heat. Okay, so the stew has been cooking for about 10 minutes. It's now time to check it. I'm just going to give it a bit of a stir, and then I'll be adding all the spices in. Okay, so it's been cooking for about 5 minutes now. As you can see, it's all coming together, looking so nice, looking so yum. Now the next thing I'll be doing is I'll be adding the stockfish, the Bonga fish, which is also called Shawa, and I'll be adding the crayfish to the stew. I'm going to stir that, cover it again, allow it to cook maybe for another 5 minutes or so before I then introduce the meat. Okay, so this is when you now check it and taste for salt. If you feel you need to add a bit of salt to it, and then do so. But I feel I need to add a bit of salt to the cooking, so I'm just going to add about half a teaspoonful of salt to the stew. And afterwards, I'll be introducing the meat, which is the fried snail, the tripe, which is also called shaki, and the cow skin, also called Kpomo. I'm going to stir all that together nicely and cook it for another about 3 to 5 minutes. I'll say maybe 5 minutes. Afterwards, I'll then be adding the 3 vegetables to the cooking. Okay, so this is where I actually then introduce the leafy vegetables. I'll be starting off with the Efirin, which is the scent leaves, and the Uzziza leaves first because they take longer to cook. They're quite tougher vegetables. The ugu or the pumpkin leaves will be added later in the cooking because it's softer and it's quicker to cook. Yeah, so this is the Efirin scent leaves that I'm introducing first, as well as the Uzziza leaves. I'm just going to stir those in, allow it to cook for 5 minutes, cover it on medium heat, and just leave that to cook for a short while before I then introduce the ugu leaves. Okay, so the Efo Riro is ready. You see, one of the reasons why they call it Efo Riro meaning that you actually need to stir, is because by stirring you enhance all that flavor, and also you help to infuse the flavors all together. This looks absolutely yum, very delicious. This goes well with swallow, which is the pounded yam, eba semolina. You can have it with rice. Do kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel, share and like, please. Thanks for watching.